Bruce Lee is hailed as one of the greatest martial artists in history, admired for his unmatched skill, speed, and strength. Though his life was brief, his influence endures, with those who trained with him witnessing feats that seem beyond human limits. From his legendary short-range strike that could send an opponent flying to astonishing displays of agility, his demonstrations remain a source of awe and inspiration. In this video, we explore rare archival footage that highlights Bruce Lee's brilliance and expands our view of human potential. Lee's one-inch punch is one of the most well-known moves in martial arts history. As its name suggests, the one-inch punch is a technique martial artists use to strike targets at incredibly close range. The idea that if executed correctly, an attacker can exert enough force to bring down an opponent makes it unique. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch gained widespread recognition in the early 1960s, about 10 years before Lee rose to prominence as a global martial arts celebrity. Lee became famous when he demonstrated it at the 1964 Long Beach International Karate Championships. At the time, the martial arts community took wide notice of him. Interest in Lee's one-inch punch increased dramatically as his reputation grew. Although Lee made the move so famous that many renowned martial artists from different kung fu styles now practice it, Lee remains the most well-known practitioner of the technique. Keep watching, the story is just getting interesting. Lee did not suddenly invent the one-inch punch in 1964. It is based on Chinese martial arts in general and the instruction he received as a teenager. Lee's martial arts journey began in the 1950s when he trained under Wing Chun Grandmaster IP Man, who laid the groundwork for Lee's later martial art, Jeet Kune. The one-inch punch's principles derive from this theory. Since Wing Chun is a fighting style designed for close quarters, Lee was already familiar with techniques for short-range combat through his Wing Chun training, before the one-inch punch was publicly unveiled. Bruce Lee's student James DeMille provided insight into Lee's development process. He claimed that Lee refined an existing Wing Chun technique. Lee experimented with various stances and angles, aiming to make the move more effective at closer range. Eventually, they found a combination that worked. Lee once demonstrated his power by sending someone flying back about 16 feet, landing them squarely in a chair. His accuracy, instantaneous execution speed, and the precise angle of impact were all key to his success. Bruce Lee's one-inch punch remains legendary because of his speed, one reason so few martial artists have been able to replicate it so effectively. If there was one thing Bruce Lee was known for above all else, it was his incredible speed. Many believed his advantage over most fighters was that he was simply too fast to counter. By the time he struck, his opponent often had no chance to react. In August 1964, Bruce Lee appeared at the Long Beach International Karate Championships in California, where he demonstrated his one-inch punch to a stunned audience. The move instantly became one of his trademarks and helped establish his reputation in the American martial arts community. Years later, researchers and martial arts writers analyzed Bruce Lee's punching speed and striking power. While some popular accounts claim his punch was measured in terms of joules and compared to bullets, many of these numbers are speculative rather than results of formal scientific testing. What is certain is that Lee's unique combination of explosive muscle recruitment, speed, and timing made his strikes exceptionally powerful for his size. Another famous demonstration of Bruce Lee's speed occurred in 1967 at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, when he worked with Victor Moore, a respected karate champion and former U.S. team member. During a speed drill, Lee challenged Moore to block his punch. Bruce threw several lightning-fast strikes in front of a live audience, pulling them short to avoid contact. Moore later admitted he could not stop them, underscoring just how fast Bruce Lee truly was. One of the reasons why Bruce Lee will always be remembered among the legends of martial arts is his ability to do things that seemed completely impossible. This is particularly impressive when you consider that Bruce Lee practiced an art form that required the mastery of all of the body's senses. Anyone who has ever been in close combat knows that you always have to be on your guard. One mistake can immediately give your opponent the upper hand. However, Bruce Lee's mastery of martial arts seemed so natural that he could demonstrate fighting skills even blindfolded. There is recorded footage of Bruce Lee sparring while blindfolded. At first, it seems as if both he and his training partner are evenly matched, exchanging blows on equal terms. Then, like a snake waiting for the perfect moment, Bruce strikes with optimal precision. Two things about this are particularly impressive. First, Bruce took his opponent down in less than a minute. Even more remarkable is the fact that he remained blindfolded throughout the entire demonstration. And if that weren't enough, Bruce's partner tried again in a second round. This time, Bruce dispatched him even faster, within just a few seconds, still blindfolded. A third round produced a similar result. Bruce displayed impressive skill and control of his fighting style, while his partner simply couldn't keep up. Taking down an opponent is one thing, but doing it blindfolded is something else entirely. This demonstration showcased not just Bruce's physical abilities, but his incredible spatial awareness and intuitive understanding of combat dynamics. The fact that he could sense his opponent's movements, anticipate attacks, and counter with perfect timing without using sight speaks to a level of martial arts mastery that bordered on the extraordinary. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Don't forget to share it with your friends too. It helps the channel out, and I'm excited to continue bringing you more awesome content. Bruce Lee is the creator of Jeet Kune, which translates from Cantonese as the way of the intercepting fist. Unlike traditional martial arts with fixed forms, JKD is a hybrid martial philosophy shaped by Lee's experiences in combat, self-defense, and his study of Taoist and Zen Buddhist principles. Drawing from Wing Chun, boxing, fencing, judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, and taekwondo. It emphasizes adaptability and rejects rigid systems. Lee never codified JK before he died in 1973, leaving later practitioners to interpret and develop his ideas. The central concept of JKD is interception, stopping an attack before it fully develops and countering simultaneously. It also stresses freedom of expression, efficiency, and the cultivation of both body and mind. Lee defined 4 ranges of combat as essential: kicking, punching, trapping, and grappling. He also developed the 5 ways of attack, which help practitioners organize offensive strategies. Defensive principles such as stop hits, stop kicks, and simultaneous parrying and striking were influenced by European fencing and Wing Chun, which Lee adapted for unarmed fighting. Lee often compared martial arts to water, saying systems should be adaptable, fluid, and formless. Be water, my friend. Water flows, adapts, and penetrates obstacles, qualities he believed martial artists must embody. For this reason, JKD rejects rigid forms, dogmatic training methods, and traditional limitations. Instead, it remains a dynamic, evolving philosophy. Lee's well-known maxim captures this spirit: absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. This principle encourages practitioners to study widely, expand their repertoire, and learn to counter diverse combat strategies, making JK both practical and endlessly adaptable. Another legendary feat that adds to Bruce Lee's reputation is his famous 2-finger push-up. Push-ups are already considered one of the most demanding bodyweight exercises, working the core, shoulders, chest, and arms. For many, even completing a standard push-up can be challenging. Without sufficient strength, proper form is nearly impossible. Bruce Lee, however, trained with such intensity that he could perform push-ups on just 2 fingers of one hand, a feat requiring extraordinary strength, balance, and control. He focused heavily on building both core strength and grip power, pushing far beyond what most believed possible. While many athletes practice variations such as clapping push-ups or one-arm push-ups, Lee took it further, demonstrating the ability to support and lift his entire body on only 2 fingers of his right hand. Although a few others have also mastered this exercise, it was Bruce Lee who made the 2-finger push-up world famous, cementing it as a symbol of his unparalleled dedication and physical ability. Bruce Lee was an intense and dedicated athlete. According to his widow, Linda Lee Cadwell, he never missed an opportunity to train, even when watching athletes perform feats such as the full split. She recalled that he practiced and refined his abilities virtually every minute of the day. Lee believed that becoming the best martial artist in the world required constant training and discipline. Among all muscle groups, Lee placed particular emphasis on building his core strength, considering it essential for nearly every martial arts movement. To develop this area, he performed an advanced exercise now widely known as the dragon flag. This move involves supporting the body with only the upper back and shoulders on a bench while keeping the torso and legs completely rigid and nearly horizontal. It is regarded as one of the most demanding core exercises in fitness training. Although Bruce Lee made the dragon flag famous through his demonstrations, actor Sylvester Stallone later helped popularize it in Rocky IV, 1985. Today, martial artists and fitness enthusiasts worldwide continue to use the dragon flag as a benchmark exercise for core strength, a lasting reflection of Lee's training philosophy and physical mastery. It is hard to imagine anyone reaching Bruce Lee's level of martial arts mastery without intense and rigorous training. Bruce himself knew this and spared no effort. When he became an established martial artist, he trained so hard that many questioned whether he was even human. At the beginning of his career in Hong Kong, Bruce studied Wing Chun under Ip Man. Over the years, he incorporated Wing Chun techniques into his own evolving style. However, Bruce Lee was never fully satisfied with traditional methods. After his much-discussed 1964 fight with Wong Jack Man in Oakland, California, Bruce was disappointed that the encounter lasted too long, even though most accounts agree he won. This experience convinced him that classical styles were often impractical in real combat. In response, in 1967, he formally introduced Jeet Kune, the style without style, as he called it. This marked a complete shift in his training. He added weightlifting to build strength, running to improve stamina, and intensive stretching to increase flexibility. Bruce's physical training was particularly demanding. He practiced strikes on heavy bags that were far denser than standard equipment, sometimes weighing over 45 kg. His kicks and punches were so powerful that they could knock back the person holding the pad, and stories claim he occasionally damaged the equipment itself. His extraordinary speed, combined with explosive strength, made his punches both fast and devastating, an advantage that became a cornerstone of Jeet Kune. With his new philosophy and unmatched conditioning, Bruce Lee redefined modern martial arts and left behind a training legacy that continues to inspire fighters worldwide. Which part of Bruce Lee's intense training routine do you think contributed most to making him such a groundbreaking martial artist? His Wing Chun foundation, his creation of Jeet Kune, or his extreme physical conditioning? Let us know in the comments below. Prominent grapplers Lou Thesz and Ed Strangler Lewis influenced the American catch wrestling scene, and vital judo and wrestling techniques appear in Bruce Lee's Tao of Jeet Kune. Lee also learned from Jean LaBelle, a renowned judoka and professional wrestler, who introduced him to judo throws, locks, and chokeholds. In addition, Jihan Jae, the Hapkido master, taught Lee some joint locks and grappling methods. Lee was cautious about the limitations of grappling in real fights. Wally J., founder of Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu, recalled that Lee disliked being forced to cling to an opponent during throws, though he still appreciated the effectiveness of techniques such as a Soto-Gari, major outer reap. While in Seattle, Lee trained with various partners to defend against takedowns and to stay on his feet whenever possible. Still, he told Jean LaBelle that he wanted to incorporate judo into his arsenal. Lee added throws, arm locks, and chokeholds into his Jeet Kune framework, even if he prioritized striking. He showcased grappling in his films. In Way of the Dragon 1972, his character defeats Chuck Norris with a choke inspired by LaBelle's influence. In Game of Death 1972, released posthumously in 1978, Lee engages in grappling with Jihan Jae and later uses clinching and wrestling to control Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's character. Lee was also inspired by the training regimen of the Great Gamma, the legendary Indian wrestler and Pelwani champion, whose strength and conditioning methods Lee adapted into his own routines. Bruce Lee was born on November 27, 1940, in San Francisco, California. His father, Lee Hoi Chuen, was a Cantonese opera performer, and his mother, Grace Ho, was of Eurasian ancestry. In April 1941, the family returned to Hong Kong, which later came under Japanese occupation in December. Lee began acting as an infant in Golden Gate Girl 1941 and earned the nickname Lee Sai Yu Lung because he was born in the year of the dragon. By 18, he had appeared in nearly 20 films. He studied at Tak Sun School and later La Salle College, where his interest in martial arts deepened. In 1953, Bruce started training in Wing Chun under Ip Man. Though he initially faced resistance due to his mixed heritage, his perseverance earned him acceptance. By 1958, he had won the Hong Kong Inter-School Boxing Tournament and the Hong Kong Cha-Cha Championship. Concerned about his frequent street fights, his parents sent him to the United States in 1959 to claim his U.S. citizenship and begin a new life. Settling in Seattle, Lee finished high school and later studied drama and philosophy at the University of Washington. He began teaching martial arts, developing his early system, Jun Fan Gung Fu. In 1964, he moved to Oakland, California, where he opened a second school and performed at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, demonstrating the one-inch punch and two-finger push-ups. That year, he also fought a private match with Wong Jack Man, an experience that shaped his views and led to the creation of Jeet Kune in 1967. Bruce's U.S. television career began in 1966 with his role as Kato in The Green Hornet. Although the series lasted only one season, it introduced him to American audiences. Facing limited opportunities in Hollywood, Lee returned to Hong Kong in the early 1970s. He quickly rose to stardom with The Big Boss, 1971, and Fist of Fury, 1972, before taking full creative control with The Way of the Dragon, 1972, which he wrote, directed, and choreographed, featuring his iconic fight with Chuck Norris. In 1972, Lee began filming Game of Death, but paused production to make Enter the Dragon, 1973, a joint Warner Bros. Golden Harvest project. On July 20, 1973, Bruce Lee died in Hong Kong at just 32. The official cause was cerebral edema, possibly linked to a reaction to the painkiller Equagesic. Enter the Dragon premiered shortly afterward, achieving worldwide success and cementing his legacy. Game of Death was completed and released in 1978 using stand-ins and archival footage. Though commercially successful, it was criticized as a cash-in. Despite his brief life, Bruce Lee transformed martial arts cinema, redefined combat philosophy, and continues to inspire millions worldwide. The mysterious death of Bruce Lee on July 20, 1973, at the age of 32, remains one of the most debated events in modern cultural history. The official cause of death was recorded as cerebral edema. Yet the circumstances and contributing factors surrounding his sudden passing have fueled decades of speculation and numerous conspiracy theories. On the day of his death, Lee was in Hong Kong preparing for a planned dinner meeting with actor George Lazenby, who was being considered for a future film. Earlier that afternoon, he met with producer Raymond Chow to discuss Game of Death. After working on the script, the two went to the apartment of Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei, where they continued discussions. In the evening, Lee complained of a headache and decided to rest at Ting's residence. When he failed to wake up in time for his dinner engagement, Chow returned to check on him. Lee was found unresponsive, and a doctor was summoned, but after attempts at revival, he was pronounced dead on arrival at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The controversy deepened because Lee had suffered a similar incident just 2 months earlier, collapsing during an ADR session for Enter the Dragon. He was hospitalized and diagnosed with cerebral edema at that time, but recovered. His sudden death, despite being in extraordinary physical condition and having recently undergone a medical examination, left fans and medical experts puzzled. Over the years, theories have ranged. The lack of a universally accepted explanation continues to make Bruce Lee's death one of the most enduring mysteries in popular culture. Bruce Lee's legacy goes far beyond his movies and martial arts skills. His influence has penetrated culture, sports, and philosophy, inspiring millions worldwide. He advocated the principle of using no way as way, having no limitation as limitation, encouraging individuals to transcend boundaries. Lee emphasized self-actualization and adaptability. His famous line, "Be water, my friend," captured his belief in resilience and flexibility in the face of adversity. His philosophy of personal growth has since found applications far beyond martial arts. The creation of Jeet Kune, often called a style without style, revolutionized martial arts by rejecting rigid forms in favor of practicality, efficiency, and adaptability. This approach helped shape the foundation of modern mixed martial arts. Many combat athletes cite Lee as an inspiration, Sugar Ray Leonard credited him with refining his jab. Manny Pacquiao compared his own style to Lee's, and Conor McGregor suggested Lee would have thrived in the UFC. Anderson Silva and John Jones, who often employ Lee's signature oblique kick, have also cited him as a major influence. Lee also impacted the development of American full-contact kickboxing through figures such as Joe Louis and Benny the Jetter Quaidez. Jun Rhee, a Taekwondo pioneer, adopted Lee's acupunch, later teaching it to Muhammad Ali, who famously used a rapid punch setup to defeat Richard Dunn in 1976. Heavyweight champion Mike Tyson recalled, "Everyone wanted to be Bruce Lee in the 1970s. Beyond martial arts, Lee broke racial barriers in Hollywood. He refused to dilute his Asian martial arts style for Western tastes and challenged stereotypes that portrayed Asian men as weak or servile. Instead, he projected strength, charisma, and masculinity. As scholar Hai Sung Chung has noted, Lee reshaped representations of Asian men on screen. His impact resonated strongly within black communities, where his popularity was second only to Muhammad Ali. L. Cool J recalled that Lee's films were the first time many non-white American children saw a non-white action hero on the big screen. By the 1970s, Bruce Lee was widely regarded as the most influential martial artist of all time and a global pop culture icon. Time magazine later named him one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. He sparked the kung fu craze of the 1970s. His success paved the way for martial arts cinema worldwide and inspired generations of fighters, actors, and fans. These incredible moments we've explored today represent just a fraction of what made Bruce Lee truly extraordinary. From his one-inch punch that could send a man flying across a room, to his ability to fight blindfolded with perfect precision, and to his revolutionary martial arts philosophy that changed combat sports forever, Bruce Lee consistently pushed the boundaries of what we thought was humanly possible. His two-finger push-ups, lightning-fast strikes, and the legendary dragon flag exercise all demonstrate a level of physical mastery that seems almost superhuman. Which of these Bruce Lee moments impressed you the most? Have you ever tried to replicate any of his techniques? Let me know in the comments below what you think was his most incredible feat. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories about legendary figures who pushed the limits of human potential. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.